Hello everyone and welcome to another Star Wars figure review. Today we're going to take a look at another battle pack that is currently exclusive to Wal-Mart stores in the United States, and here in the UK you can pick it up at Forbidden Planet, who once again, along with JediNews.co.uk, were kind enough to supply this pack for a review, so a big thumbs up goes out to them. The pack that I want to give you a look at today is this one. And this is the Mos Espa Arena Battle Pack, again from the Discover the Force 3D line. This pack goes hand in hand really with the exclusive to Toys R Us Podracer Pilots pack, and also the Mohonic figure from the Discover the Force 3D wave of basic figures. On the back of the packaging we have an image of each figure included in the set. So we have a couple of pit droids, Sebulba, Anakin Skywalker and C-3PO, and again this image is in 3D, and included with this pack are a pair of 3D glasses that you can wear and check out that image in 3D. So again, feel free to pause the video if you have a pair of 3D glasses at home. Each figure does of course come with a battle game card and a display stand, and you get two of the same card for the pit droid. In fact, there they are side by side. You also get a card for C-3PO, you also get a card for Sebulba. You've got a really ugly menacing face on the back of that, and of course we do have a card for Anakin Skywalker. And of course each card does come with a battle game stand, so you can slot each card into it like so. So that's the packaging and the contents. Onto the figures themselves. As I said at the beginning of the review, each of these, well, this pack itself goes hand in hand with the Podracer Pilots exclusive pack, and that's because this set as well comes with a pair of Podracer flags. This one is of course Anakin's flag, and this one is Sebulba's, and they are very similar to the ones that were included with Mohonic and also the Podracer Pilots pack. They're made of a very flimsy sort of glossy paper, and they look really cool. Some fantastic decorations on those. Onto the figures, and we'll take a look at Anakin Skywalker first. Here he is. Personally, I think I prefer the movie Heroes Anakin, mainly because it just looks a little bit more exciting than this figure. This one is a repack, I believe, or a repaint of the Power of the Jedi Anakin Skywalker that came with a pit droid. Even down to the same articulation and the same accessory that's included. You get this sort of weird tool included with him. Let's get the camera to focus in on that. He does, however, have a little bit more articulation than the movie Heroes Anakin. He has a swivel neck, swivel shoulders and swivel wrists, swivel waist, swivel hips, ball hinge knees as well, which is quite cool. I think this is probably the best figure to fit inside your Podracer if you've picked one up yet. Let's get the camera to focus in on this one. In fact, while we're on it, we'll zoom in. One thing I do like about this figure though is the fact that when you remove the helmet, which is the same one that was included with the movie Heroes figure, it's made out of a very soft rubbery plastic, so it's easy to fit on and off the head. When you take off the helmet, the head underneath has some really cool paintwork on it. Obviously the hair and the face is a lot dirtier than you'd expect, so obviously this Anakin is based on his post-Podrace appearance, and he's got a bit of dirt on his face. But yeah, really cool figure. Again, I'm not a massive fan of young Anakin figures because they tend to be a little bit boring and a little bit uninspiring and don't tend to do much, but this one's quite nice, and the inclusion of the helmet and the tool or fixture or whatever that is quite nice as well. And again, the helmet is a great fit. So a decent Anakin figure. Just zoom out for you. Next up in the pack we have a couple of pit droids, which are mere repacks of the pit droids that were included in the Rats Tyrell and Pit Droid Vintage Collection figure. Even down to the decals that we see on the heads, these figures are exactly the same. They're very limited in terms of articulation. Each figure has a ball jointed neck, swivel shoulders and swivel hips, and that's about it. But obviously, since this pack is based on the Mos Espa Arena, these figures were a necessity to include, really, I suppose. And again, there we have a quick zoom on those guys. Really do like the pit droids, look pretty cool, and I've got a small army of these now. So, quite cool figures. Really like the decals and the weathering on the heads there. Really nicely done. Next up in this pack we have the deadly Sebulba, and I believe this figure is a repack of the Power of the Jedi Sebulba, although Hasbro really had no reason to go back and redo Sebulba because he's a phenomenal figure. I'm having a little bit of difficulty getting the camera to focus in on each of these figures, so I'm just going to zoom in on Sebulba once again. As I said, Hasbro really didn't have much reason to go back and revisit Sebulba because this figure is practically flawless. The articulation isn't bad considering the date that it was released back in 2001. He has a hinged neck which allows the figure to look up and down, and also side to side, of course. He also has swivel shoulders and swivel hips, I guess you could call them. I've just dropped the accessory that he comes with. Just bear with me a moment while I find that. There we have it. He does come with a removable flight cap and goggles, which can be quite tricky to pull over the ears. And the head sculpt that's underneath is absolutely bang on. Really does look really cool. And a very nicely detailed head sculpt it is. Got some superb paintwork on it as well. It's just a very well sculpted figure. You've also got some nice details on the outfit. And overall it's just a really cool looking figure. One thing I do like is the fact that he does come with an accessory. And that accessory is the small contraption that Sebulba throws into Anakin's engine prior to the pod race to jeopardise his chances of winning. So that's really cool that they included that. You can practically recreate every bit of the pod race now. So that's Sebulba. Getting a good look at him. And finally, we have C-3PO, Human Cyborg Relations. This figure is fantastic, absolutely love it. It is a repack, and while I'm not denying that a upgrade of this figure would have been nicer to include, this figure is fantastic. It's definitely another one of those figures that really lacks in articulation but makes up for that in terms of the overall look, and Hasbro have packed some superb detail in this figure. As I said, he was originally released in 1999, but I don't think the original version had this much detail in him. If we just zoom in again on this guy, this figure is packed to the bone with detail. So you've got all the circuitry and wiring exposed on this figure. Absolutely superb version of C-3PO. From top to bottom, this figure is just packed with detail, and I just hope that the camera's doing this figure justice. So if you don't own a stripped C-3PO in your collection already, then this pack offers you the perfect excuse to buy one, because this figure is phenomenal. As I said, the pack itself is full of repacks, so if you already own all of these figures, it's probably pointless picking this one up. But for someone who doesn't have all the original versions of the figures included, this is a fantastic pack to pick up, and I'm really glad that I was able to get it, because each figure in this set is just phenomenal. And as I said, I've got to give Hasbro credit where it's due. You know, they can really do a good job of making bad figures look good sometimes, because by today's standards the articulation is pretty sucky, but the detail in these figures is just phenomenal. So I'm very, very pleased with them. Well done, Hasbro. Well done. So I hope you enjoyed having a look at the Mos Espa Arena Battle Pack. And I'll be back to review a vehicle next. So stay tuned for that. So I hope you enjoyed having a look at this pack. And as I said, I'll be back with more reviews in the very near future. So thanks for watching, guys. And as always, until next time, keep collecting and may the Force be with you.